So the Jets, all the way coming from London, which happened, Sunday morning, American time, East Coast time. It was 9:30. Lose the game to the Vikings. Some interesting moments happened with the Jets offense, I would say. Thought the Jets defense played well. And then here we are Tuesday morning, all waking up to Robert Saleh, head coach of the Jets, now fired with a career record of 20-36. They are entering week 6 with a chance for the lead in the AFC East against the Bills. What are your thoughts? I'll just go there. What was your first takeaway about Robert Saleh now entering the unemployment line as a coach, even though the defense, which, I know he's not a defensive coordinator, but he has a lot to say on that defense, doing well. So what do you think about this, Matt?
Yeah, so in a weird way, my first reaction when I saw the notification pop up on the phone was literally out loud. I said, holy I mean, because it was definitely a surprise. At the same time, though, like I said, I'm going to contradict myself there and say it's not that surprising, even though the initial reaction is one of shock. Just because, like, for one, the second that Rodgers in the press conference, kind of pushes back on Saleh and the whole cadence comment, right away, I'm like, oh, this is not good. This is something's like when there's smoke, there's fire. With the Thursday night game when they're blowing out the Patriots and Rodgers kind of like pushes off Saleh, like that like hug he tries to give him. There was obviously something going on there. And again, when clearly the most powerful person in that building beyond the owner is the quarterback, is Aaron Rodgers. You look no further than who the offensive coordinator is, who's the number 2 wide receiver. We know the deal with the Rodgers stuff. Like, we don't need to rehash everything that everybody already knows. He obviously has more sway in that building than Saleh. So if there was any sort of like, hey, we need to put a Band-Aid on this, it's not let's pick at what Aaron likes to do. It's let's get rid of the head coach. So I'm not, like, in that way, I wasn't all that surprised. And also, just again, you look at Saleh's record. I'm with you. Like, he obviously the Jets defense is fantastic, but you are the head coach. I think we get stuck on this too much on the outside of like, well, the side of the ball that he is responsible from, like that's why he got this job is good. Like, why are we firing this guy? Well, and again, I realize what I just said there, that the reason the offense coordinator is in place is because of the quarterback and all of this stuff. That's a tangled knot. But regardless of that, the buck does stop with you. You have the record that you do. You're performing the way that you do. I think this team looks like a poorly coached team, mostly on the offensive side of the ball, but still, again, you are the head football coach. You are accountable for the entire operation. The entire operation has not been good under the Robert Saleh era, and like, that is just a fact. Whether it's all his fault or whatever is kind of a separate discussion, but just like in that reality, it's not that surprising to see this head coach get let go.
It's a tough situation because you want a talent like Aaron Rodgers in there. But then, we think of like, sometimes guys have a posse or they have a group with them, an entourage with them. Rodgers is more like, his auxiliary characters around him, the Hackett's, the Allen Lazards, the, Malachi Corley, the 3rd round pick that obviously is a Rodgers favorite because he won't stop talking about him, who was a healthy scratch this past weekend, I might add. So you said it's kind of all tied together. It's hard. It's a knot. It is very knotty. And how I kind of determined this, like, because I want to say Saleh has an influence on the defense, and it's like, yeah, as a head coach, you have to say something on the offense. Sean McVay having a bad defense, I don't let Sean McVay get away with it. You hire the defensive coordinator, you do this, you have say on personnel, you actually have influence on this. There with the Jets is just so interesting because it's truly Joe Douglas has a lot of say, the GM, and he's still there. But then they bring in Rodgers, and he brings in all of the guys that he wants, play callers, the auxiliary players. They get a lot of vets to kind of patch over things. I don't know, like, how much I put on Saleh there because I could tell it all went over his head. Like, this is just how it goes. Every building, the politics are different. If you're in New England for the last 20 years, it's Bill Belichick and then Bill Belichick, and then the third in command is Bill Belichick. So it's easy to just, go through that hierarchy there. Every team is so different. Every team, how they treat their quarterback is so different. Some quarterbacks, like Matt Ryan, when I was with him in Atlanta, he has, he's the god of the building. Everything is to protect Matt Ryan. And Matt Ryan could do whatever he wants there. Great guy too, but he could just do whatever he wants there. And yeah, that makes sense because it's Matt Ryan. Rodgers comes in. It's not like he's been there for 15 years. This is a new head coach. This is for him. This is new interactions with other players that he's, it's not him that's established himself from day one there. So it's just the chemistry of that and just the relationships there. It's hard to, pick apart like who I want to blame. I just think Saleh's in a no-win position unless they won games. But again, that reflects on him.